Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
All right, today we're playing a game
Hooyah!
called Hooyah. Now, honestly, probably some people will turn away from this immediately because it looks like a promotional thing for the Marines or something. And any kind of game I've run across like this in the past is usually not that good.
Yeah.
But this one is designed by Mike Fitzgerald, who, if you don't know who he is, he designed Wyatt Earp and the Mystery Rummy series and several other good games. And I honestly, when I got it, there was cards inside. I said, oh, you know, it's another one of his rummy games. It's not. It's actually a cooperative game. In which you are a group of Navy SEALs going on different missions. There's 5 different missions included in the box. I suppose that maybe they'll put more up on the internet. But, I mean, you could play each mission multiple times because it's going to play out differently each time. Let's take a look at how it plays, and then we'll tell you if it's any good or not.
All right.
The first thing you'll do on a turn is that you will pick one of 5 different missions that you'll go on. The Panama Invasion, HVT Extraction, POW Rescue, Go Plat Assault. You're going to pick which one you're going to go on, and it tells you some maybe additional setup things that will happen, what your final mission needs to be. So when you pick your mission, let's say we pick Compound Raid, where your objective is to capture or kill Osama bin Laden, and this tells you what happens to complete the mission, and you put it in this kind of stand-up thing here, which is pretty cool because it will stand up on the table and you can see what your mission's going to be as the game progresses. You have a skills and equipment deck with 5 cards laid up, and you have 5 ops laid up. Each player is going to choose or randomly draw one of the different Navy SEALs that's possible. Now, one person has to be the lieutenant commander, okay? One person's a lieutenant commander. They're kind of in charge of the game, but the other ones are going to be randomly handed out. Now, each of these guys has a special ability, although, incidentally, they all have a special ability where they're all marksmen, every single one of them, which I thought was interesting. But they also each have another special ability that they'll be able to use as the game progresses. The lieutenant commander will start the game, and at the beginning, what you have to do is, to go to the final mission, you have to complete 5 of these ops first. So you'll turn over the 2 ops, and there are 2 numbers here and 2 colors. Now, to complete this first op, and each op is composed of a pair of cards, I need to have 4 red cards and 4 purple cards. These are skill cards, and each color corresponds to something. Red is marksmanship, purple is technology, yellow is air skills, green is strength, and purple is technology. And so to get those, we need to get those cards in our hand. But we'll add those numbers together, and we'll take this clock here. And basically, we'll start it at 8. And then on my turn, as the lieutenant commander, I will either decide to start the mission, which would be pretty stupid at this point in time, or I can draw 2 cards. Here, this is a preparation phase. So I say, okay, I need a purple and a red. So I draw the purple card here, which is then replaced by the top card from the deck. Ooh, that's a wild. I'll take that. And then a wild, which is replaced by another card. Now, the cards with nothing on them are skill cards, and you'll find skill cards in each of the colors. But there are also cards like this one here, which is an equipment card. And if you notice at the top, it says prepare, which means I can play this during the prepare phase. I can discard that to draw 2 more cards. Maybe I don't want blue, so I might be tempted to take that. When I draw cards, I can draw from these 5 cards, or I can draw off the top of the deck. And there are all sorts of equipment cards that you can get. For example, this one lets me discard all the face-up cards and put new ones out. This one here, if I play this with another purple during the ops phase, it will count as one of any color. And so we'll take all these cards, we'll be drawing cards, but each time we draw a card, and then I hand the timer to the next person, the time will drop by 1. Now, if the time drops to 0, we can still pass it around, but at that point in time, each time you pass it, you are going to lose a health point. Each player will start with 5 of these health points, and if you lose them all, you're dead. Now, there's a couple things that the lieutenant commander can do during this phase. He can call a roll call on his turn, and he can basically say how many cards he has in his hand of one color. So he might say, I have 3 purples. And then the next person will say, I have 2 blues. Next person, I have 4 purples, or whatever, and you'll go around. And he can call roll call as many times as he wants, but that's the only time you can tell people information about your hand, is during an official roll call. He can also decide when to start the ops phase. He can start that after any player's turn. When the op phase starts, players are just going to start playing cards in their hand in turn order, going around the table, trying to complete these ops. So he might play 3 of the purples here, or he might only play 2 of the purples, hoping that somebody else will play them so he doesn't have to waste his while and can save it for future missions. Now that all sounds well and good, but before you go on a mission, you will have events. If you notice at the bottom of these cards there's events. They mean nothing at this point in time, but you're going to draw an event here. You're going to draw events for however many completed ops you've gone on, so you draw more as each time goes by, and how many players are in existence. So each player will have to resolve an event. Like for example, here's a skill check. Now to pass a skill check, tech in this instance, I have to either discard a purple card from my hand, or draw the top 3 cards of the skills and equipment deck and hope there's a purple there, which there's not. If I can't play a purple, or I draw cards and there's nothing there, then I'm going to lose a hit point whenever a skill check comes. But that's not the only thing that will happen as the game progresses. Discard 1 card for each completed op. Lose a health for each completed op. Sometimes there's no event, which is a great thing. And here, look at the mission card and do the mission event. When that happens, you look at the mission. Each mission has a different event. For example, this one here, you lose a health whenever that happens. So players have to go through a certain number of these events. Once they successfully survive these events, they will then play cards. And like I said, they can play cards in any as they go around, passing around, trying to play enough cards. Some guys have special abilities, like for example, the communications guy can play 1 purple card and it counts as 2 purples, and he automatically passes all purple skill checks. And so each guy has special abilities, and anybody can play 4 of one color as 1 of any other color. Once you've played enough of these, the event is completed. Hooray! Or if you can't for some reason, then the event has failed and you have to start all over again on the same event. But once the event's completed, you will take the event cards and you will turn over the next ones and start another round that's very similar. However, before you start that round, you have to discard one of these cards here, and now there's only 4 cards face up. And after the next event, then there's 3, 2, until you get to the final event, there's only 1 card that's face up. Not only is there only 1 card face up before that final event, but you also will have to complete a whole pile of events before you can finish that op successfully. And then when you finish that op successfully, you must immediately go to the final mission, where in this instance you would need 2 yellows, 3 reds, and 2 blues. If you pull that off, you win. If you don't, you lose. If everybody loses all their health before the game's over, you will also lose. Now you can get health back if you go off on a mission before the timer hits 0. Let's say we went off on the mission at 3, then we would get 3 health points back, and the lieutenant commander would decide where they go. Each mission's a little bit different. Some of them are harder than others, of course. You never know how hard an ops is. This is a pretty easy ops where I only need 3 yellows, but at the same time we only have 3 turns to get those. And so it behooves you in earlier turns to save cards for the end of the game. Eventually you will either complete this final mission and win, or not complete it and lose. Many times when I play games, I start off by thinking, whoa, this looks so cool, whoa, that's so cool. You know what, this game stinks. And then there are other times where I'll play a game and I'll be like, oh, you know, that looks interesting, and as the game goes by, I enjoy it more and more. And that is the example here with Hooyah. Hooyah, are you doing the component drop again?
No, I'm fixing the bottom of the box again.
Hooyah has some really nice components in it. Really nice components. It looks good. The artwork, one of the guys in a gaming group compared it to G.I. Joe style artwork, and I think that's the 80s G.I. Joe, not the movie. I think that's a reasonable
Box art
thing. But
I get it.
But
wrong.
the game itself, when it comes down to it, is a very pure cooperative game. There's no sneakiness about it, but it's not as easy as you might think, because part of the thing is to find out the cards in other people's hands. The leader can do his roll calls on his turn, But at the same time, I just kept finding myself forget what everybody had. You really need a good leader to know what's going on.
Well, there is a lot of information being cast about when you do the roll calls, and you're kind of trying. It's not cooperative where you can just play with your hand open the whole time. So it's not like that. You actually have to do these roll calls to kind of find out where your other players' hands are, and then they have to be kind of on the ball to know why you're calling the roll call. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like almost a nebulous mechanic, but there is reason for it, and it does fit into the game very well.
I don't know that I've ever played a cooperative game like this, in the sense that most cooperative games work like this. Bad thing happens, you do good things. Bad things happen, you do good things. That's not how this one works. This one works as you prepare. Now, go out and accomplish the mission, but all these things are going to happen then, and you have to be prepared for them. If you're prepared for them, no problem. If you're not,
you're going to lose some life, right?
And it's very exciting, and they have very simple ways in each mission how to adjust to make them harder or easier. So if you're like, oh, we just beat this one, well then adjust it to be harder, and I guarantee you won't say that.
Right. Well, we barely won. Barely.
Barely won doesn't mean anything, though.
We lost a guy.
In your face.
We lost a guy.
Okay, there's one thing we should talk about here, and that's the theming of the game. The game is about Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
So it's obviously going to appeal to
modern warfare.
It's modern warfare, and the missions in the box. The very first mission is go take out Osama bin Laden. Now, that could be distasteful to some folks, or not. I mean, but let me say this. As the game progresses, even though there's a whole theming of the game, and we're like, yeah, we're pumping up, get our equipment ready, go out on our mission, yeah. The actual mission itself is with cards. At no point did I feel like I was pointing a bead at someone and shooting them. It was mostly, we accomplished a mission. High five. What did you do? We accomplished our mission. Now, how much you make of that is up to you.
Yep.
And the equipment is interesting, but most of the equipment is these ops missions that you're going on.
Yeah.
So I don't think this should turn off people. There's no pictures of anything other than the Navy SEALs and their equipment. Yep. There's no bad guys, really. There's no one that's made to be a villain. Well, I mean, Osama bin Laden, I guess, in the first mission. But other than that, you're rescuing POWs.
It's just the name. There's not a picture of Osama bin Laden on the card that says, go get this guy. There's not a target on his head or anything like that. It's just, that's the name of the mission. Capture or eliminate Osama bin Laden. So, again, that's kind of a... Don't make that more than
well, even if you did, though, you could play some other ones. Rescue POWs. Who's not going to think rescuing POWs is a bad thing? Right. Or, go extract a spy or something like that. And each mission is different, and you never know what can happen in those event cards. Right. You could be like, we got this, and then they just nail you to the wall.
Yeah, because that's how it was. I mean, we got to the end of our missions phase and going after the main dog, and it was by the hair on our chinny chin chin.
Okay, I like this game. I'm gonna give this one 2 smoking barrels up. Now, not that. I need some supplies. 2 MREs up.
Are you hungry, man?
Not for an MRE ever.
No.
But I did enjoy this. The one thing I'm saying about this one, very much so, is that it felt different than every other cooperative game I played so far.
Yeah, it has.
You know how Pandemic, you can say it's similar to Defenders of the Realm, and even the Flashpoint Fire Rescue and Pandemic. There's a similar feel to them.
Yeah.
This one felt different. It's playing cards, but working together as a group, trying to play certain combinations of cards. I really enjoyed it. So.
I think that this kind of hits the same vein, partially, as Shadows did, because Shadows you couldn't play with an open hand.
Yeah, you were supposed to hint at what was in your hand.
Exactly, but you couldn't tell people exactly what you had. Here, this is the same way. You have a leader. See, a lot of the different co-op games, you can have an alpha personality person that will start telling people what to do. This is what you should do. This is what you should do.
Well, this game actually encourages that.
No, I don't think it does, because the lieutenant commander in this one, he can call roll calls and he can say when we're going to go into the fight. But you can still give him hints. No, we're not ready yet.
That's what I was about to say, though. It gives someone that role.
Right.
And I think if you want to have fun in your group, don't give that to the alpha person in your group. Give it to a more mild person.
Yeah.
And I think we should do that. Sir, you listen to your lieutenant commander.
Yeah, that's right. That would be cool.
Okay, what thumbs are you giving?
I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up as well. Here they are, but they are MP5s. I guess you can. I think that's the tactical machine gun that they use now. Maybe it's not. You guys are going to let me know that I'm totally wrong. So they're 2 machine guns up. How's that?
All right. So really, this is an interesting game you might not have heard of. Check it out. Hooyah!
Hooyah!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.